Today we want to design this simple letterhead. Basically, everything is about principles and concepts. If you understand how it's done, you just go ahead and apply the principle. For instance, if you need a letterhead that has background or has other depth of details and designs, by now you have known how to edit curves and carve shapes into whatever you want it to be like. You can do that, but always remember, the simpler the better. So this is a simple letterhead comprising of a logo here at the top, the name, the motto, and at the middle here there is a faded or what we call watermark of the logo, and then the other parts come below here. So let's just start. Please make sure that your page is on A4. A4 is the size of page for letterhead. That is more like a standard typing sheet size. Okay, so you select A4. And let me bring the other one closer so that I can see from where I am. Okay, this logo, I have provided something like this, or I have it already in a folder for you, whereby just pick it from this resource folder. And so I want to right click on it, choose copy, or you can import and then come here and right click and choose paste. You can see the shortcut for it being Ctrl+V. So moving the logo to the top or to wherever I think it's right for it to be, I place it there. The next thing is just to go ahead and type the name. That's a simple way to design letterhead. Okay, reviewed reverse. This is being done. We now get into, I'm duplicating that. So how do I manage to duplicate it? Let me undo. While this is being selected, I click on it with the mouse, and while it is being held, I now right click before I drop it. I think I've explained this in severally, so in case you see me doing it, you shouldn't be so worried about it anymore. Motto, peace, progress and development. So double clicking on it activates the text tool, and I now type motto, peace, progress and development. Is the other type or this one? Okay, is this type. The font, as I can see here, this font is Times New Roman fonts. It's one of the fonts that you can have it in any system, and then it is bold. So select the font here, make it bold here, and probably the size looks alike. Okay, I'm okay with that size. Motto, Times New Roman steel. The size, the color is more of this cyan, and then the size is quite smaller, but it seems like it is bold. Yes, it's bold. So make it bold, and then reduce the size just manually. I cannot tell what the size there is, but if I put it, if I select all of these things and I press C on keyboard to align them center, I should be able to use the size of this review reference to judge when this other one is sizable enough. You can see that the motto starts from R to R. So we are going to write from R to R. While it is being centered now, I can hold shift on my keyboard and reduce it, adjust it until it gets to R on one side. That should also settle it on the other end. Then I move it up there. The next thing will be to type this bottom part of it, which is not a hard thing. So for me, maintaining this font size as it is here, I want to duplicate it by clicking and then moving it to a place before I right click before dropping. You can also press plus on keyboard, then you now move it without, this time around you don't need to right click anymore, because the plus on the numeric keypad will automatically duplicate it for you. So we type the text. Please, I want to bring it closer so I can see whatever is there. But for us, we have passed this level of typing to really see what is there. Okay, it's a matter of understanding concepts. Okay, so for me, these are basic things. Whether I type this thing or not, you should know how to do it already. Okay, where I'm just trying to apply something that looks a little different is likely here or maybe here, but and then the watermark in the background there. But for sake of the fact that this is not a hard thing to do, temporary office. Okay, just type anything there. Just type, okay, flat 1. Let's say road 10 flat 4 flat 4 Lucky Estates Borikiri Harcourt Rivers State Nigeria, for instance. That's just an address. Then you begin to type the phone numbers, and I want to duplicate this before typing the phone number, so just type anything there, 08, whatever it is, just fill in the phone numbers. Okay, let me just complete 0803 5 okay 7 the dash there. Okay, 003 475 9507. Oh, should I be doing this? Let me not type people's number. Okay, let me just type in something here. Let's say 303. Okay, and double clicking this side. Okay, 1 2 3 or 2 3 4, whatever it is. Then 9502 or 3 as it is. Then a continuation of it. I have to just make some more space. Maybe like instead of putting one space, can make it like 2 or 3 to give sufficient space here. But just beyond that, there's something I want to explain to us here. One space 0801 dash 222 dash 1. Again, one space 080T. This is going to help us so that when we want to design some other stuff that are more creative or more demanding, you have learned some of these small commands already. 005 or 05, whatever it is. Okay, I don't care now. All I want is type something, and then we get that. So those are the phone numbers. Then we now type these names, which for me, I think the size of my phone number is the phone number here is a little bigger, just a little bigger, not that too big. But there is something that is very important there, which I want to emphasize, is the spacing. The spacing. Now, if you pick your shape tool and then you drag on this, you see everything being spaced out accordingly. If you squeeze it, the spaces collapses. If you drag it, the space expands. However, you will notice that the more you expand it, this is the reason I really came to this place, so I have to stay here and do it. The more you expand it, the more the whole thing joins up together, that there doesn't seem to be any space in between the weights again. Both the weights and the characters have been modeled up together because of excessive spacing in between the characters. You can hardly spot an area where between one phone number and the next phone number because of excessive spacing. Now, a quick way or the real way to do this is that because it contains spaces in between, while you are dragging this, you might want to hold shift. If you hold shift on keyboard, it extends the space between while you are holding. Take note of this. You are taking text shape tool, clicking on a text first of all. After taking the shape tool, you hold it at this space adjustment handle. If you drag it like this and close it, you are closing the space between the characters. All right, you are closing the space between the characters. And if you hold shift on keyboard while you are dragging it, you're closing the space between the words. Holding shift on keyboard while I'm dragging this now, it closes the space or opens the space between the words. And a similar thing too also applies to when you are dragging it on this other side. Dragging it this way now, we don't have more than one line anyway, more than one paragraph. Opens the space between the lines, as in line, first line, second line, third line. But there is a difference between a line and a paragraph, which when you begin to handle issues like magazines, you are going to learn it, okay? So there is a difference between a line and a paragraph. If you really want to do all this, sometimes some people might still want to apply multiple spaces between paragraphs, as maybe like first space and second space bar, or enter lines, as in breaking the lines, multiple breaks between paragraph A and paragraph B. But in some instances, you can as well use the same thing by holding down shift and dragging it to expand the paragraph, and then holding down shift and dragging the other one will expand the lines. my own interest for today is just here. I think with this too, when you apply the same principle of holding down shift on keyboard, you expand this, and you can as well close the cap. So I want something that is more like what I see there. I think that looks cool for me. We can now go. The rest of them doesn't really have any challenge there. Just type somebody's name, put a small line here, and then type the rest. Let's go back to our site. Okay, I think that's just my major interest in what we did here today. It was to show us that one as one thing. Okay, so I've aligned it center with the top icons. In my own way too, I usually like to put a border around the page so that everything I'm doing, I'm going to use it to centralize or align my stuff. Okay, so I'm bringing this one down. Oh no, there's something below it. Then under it here, I want to create, see what I'm doing now? I want to create this small shape background, this colored background there at the bottom. So I am trying, like, if I want to adjust the size of this other rectangle, so I adjust it and then leave it there. But in this case now, the original rectangle is gone. I have now transformed it to become as small as this other one, which is still cool for us because the background here is plain white. But assuming it was something not of the same, I might need to either pick a rectangle tool and draw there, or while I'm dragging this one, I right click to drop it or duplicate before transforming it. So I'm moving this one up a little. Now I'm bringing that part to type whatever I wanted to type there. Let's say Grand Patron. You can see the space as I'm typing one space. See the way it jumps. You type somebody's name. The moment you press the next character, it shifts the thing as much as your paragraph or your line spacing and your character spacing demanded. And then you type, let's say James Akoro. If there is any such name, I don't know. For me, we are not doing a realistic letterhead. I'm just showing you how things get done, which is more important, that you can reason and create your designs. Okay. Now, because I copied this one to put here, it maintains the same settings I use. I might want to pick it back and then close the cap accordingly the way I want it by holding down shift on keyboard while I'm dragging, adjusting the paragraph spacing. That's too close. Okay, this is good. But then the weird spacing, the character spacing is too much, so I leave the key, the shift now, and then just drag only the character so that it will balance for me. That's one. And then I might want to continue the separators. Two ways of making a separator. Either I'm picking a rectangle to just draw a very tiny rectangle here and then remove the outline, but just as in right click on the color, on the no color or no fill color here, it just removes the outline and then you color it red. Or you can pick a line tool. A line tool doesn't have, when you draw with the line tool does not have color. So even if I click on, let me say red for instance, look at it now, it's showing red as fill color, but it will not show here because this is not a fill, this is an outline. Until I click on the outline that I want by right clicking on the color before it changes, and you can see here it changes. So even if I click on no color for the fill here, it doesn't really affect the outline. But this, in this other instance here, it was a shape, and as a shape, if I click on fill, it affects the fill. A shape has both fill and outline. Okay, look at this now. So by right clicking on that, it has changed the color of the outline. For me, I want to shade the inside. Now, the challenge, or one of the things you need to understand, let's bring these two people together now. I want to explain a little stuff because what we are doing is not a big thing. So just use it and explain some other important tips for you to understand. This is CorelDraw. The size of this thing can be adjusted because it is a field object. I can adjust the size to anything I want, and it will respond to me till it gets to the smallest, like it has almost gotten there now, which will likely be almost as much as this other one here. Okay, so if I keep on adjusting it, zoomed in and adjust it, you can see that I've hit the, okay, I've hit the smallest, which is more like about 0.5, about 1.0. Now, while they are like this together, looking alike, let me do something to show you that one has potential for growth, the other one does not. If I stretch it this way now, you see that the one that has a fill begins to expand gradually, but the outline still remains where it was. Let me bring it closer again and keep on stretching. The one that has a fill continues to expand because it is a shape. The outline does not. Undo. That's being done. The next thing is stretching it also from this angle. A similar thing will still apply. Why you see them growing almost alike together is because this other one, I squeeze it to the lowest point that it doesn't even have any space in between. Everything here is more like an outline. But assuming it was as this thick, and maybe I gave my outline as much thickness as, oh, that's too big, much thickness as this other one too, you will see that when I'm moving them, one will expand, the other one remains. However, even if I do it this way too, one will expand and the other one remains. So for sake of expansions, okay, maybe you are designing something like a flex banner and you are using a small size to design, such that at the end of the day, at the point of printing, you will scale it up before you print. You might want to use a shape with a fill to do the work of an outline. However, you can as well come to the outline, then go to outline pane dialog box. That's by double clicking on this place or by tapping on fill tools, sorry, and then go to outline pane, which is F12 as shortcut. You choose scale with image. In other words, when the image is enlarged, the line grows in thickness. Now it is 2.0 points. When the image is reduced, the line also reduces in thickness. So let's see how this one works now. I've put it there. Even if I move it up and down, it will want to expand a little. At least it grows proportionally, following the transformation that I want to give to it, not minding that it's a line. So always take note of those things. My interest was just to show us how it's done, but since I've already put that now, if I reduce it too small, the line almost peters to infinity. You can see that initially it started with 0.5, now it has gone to as low as small as 0.216 and stuff like that. So that's small. I want to maintain my 1 point. Okay, that's good, and it's black. But we are not really careful about the colors for now. So that's just the way to do it. And then on the other side, you also type other things that may have to follow. Remember to always centralize them. This color is light cyan, right? Or is it the perfect one? Not necessarily perfect. Let me say light cyan. So in this case, now the composition of this is cyan is 100%, magenta 0, yellow 0, black is K0. But can you see this thing? Let me zoom in a little so you can see. So looking at color composition, for every color you click, if you click on this color, for instance, this is an RGB color. It's showing you that R is 255, G is 0, B is 0. In other words, it's only red that makes that color. If you click on this color, which is a blue, it shows you that cyan is 100, magenta is 100, yellow is 0, and black is 0. For every color you see in terms of printing, it is a composition of about 4 colors, which is the cyan, the magenta, the yellow, and the black. Every other color is a mixture of these 4, is made out of these 4. So for instance, if I pick this color now, all right, this color has composition such as cyan, 0. There is no element of this one we might likely want to call blue, and magenta 0, no element of this color, yellow 0, no element of this color, and black 0. Sorry, yellow is only 20, magenta is only 40. So 40% magenta, 20% yellow has given us this. That is the instruction that your computer will send to the printing machine when it's doing digital color separation, for those that are into printing or those that are handling printing works. And number 2, those that are processing print works, this is the instruction that your computer sends to the printing machine to be able to interpret, so that whenever it is being printed manually using an offset machine, it can still produce the exact color you wanted. Anything outside that is going to give something different. For instance, if you add some more elements of yellow to it, maybe like raising the yellow to like 40 or 40-40, the color here is going to change. If you click on this color that looks like purple here, purple has its own composition. It has 20% element of cyan, 80% element of magenta, 0% element of yellow, and 20% element of black. That's purple. And so on. Green is more like a 100 by 100% of combination of yellow and cyan. So that one is just for you to know, which is very important still for you if you really want to go into printing. You can as well adjust. If you double click on this now, I want to go out of this zoom, and we get to the uniform fill color, and then I go to my models. Here you can see the mixture of the colors. You can see that we are using CM automatic, which is the CMYK profile. If you change it to RGB profile, it will give you different color. In other words, the same color in CMYK gives you different, because RGB is using red, green, and blue elements, okay, to pigments to compose its color. So you can see in this instance, while this other one is this kind of green, this one is this type of green. While this is like this is like this, and that is the way they also rank themselves to down till infinity. Back to the CMYK, because it's something more like we want to print. Okay, the color name here is showing green, but if I begin to add some more element to it, let's say, and now say add magenta by 20, reduce yellow by make it, instead of 100, make it 70%. You will begin to see differences in the color, although it is still green, but differences are beginning to come in. If I introduce something like if I reduce the cyan now to 10%, it means that the highest now is now yellow. So yellow will now take a higher effect on the object, now producing this color. Now back to the originality of it. 100, 0. In other words, you can as well combine colors all by yourself. And here is yellow. Okay, we wanted to have green. 100, and then black. The moment I compose it accurately, CorelDraw can identify the name as green again. But beyond that, I can as well move my slider to whichever color that I want to, and pick a color that matches what I want by moving around these areas. You could as well come up, and the moment you leave this dialog box and come outside, it becomes what we call the eyedropper tool. Feels in that any color you tap, whether in here, outside this place, or anywhere around here, becomes the color you have picked. It will pick that color and put it for you. For me, that's the color I'm picking. Okay. And if you look at that color composition, it is an RGB color. 180% R is over 200, about 260 per time, or 250 thereabout. R is 180, green is 227, and black is 250. But now I want to change it back to CMYK so that I can see the printable color as it should be like. So I come to CMYK standard. I come to here under the model. I change it to CMYK. I see that it's only 20% cyan. That is all that RGB was able to interpret it to mean, all of those compositions, because printing machines use CMYK. However, this simpler offset printing machines uses CMYK, that is cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, while some of these other kind of printers that are around, like photo printers, uses RGB. Photo printers uses RGB, but other desktop printers and many other advanced printers use CMYK 4-color profile. Okay, so I'm back to my cyan to be sure that I'm using 20% cyan, so that when I want to produce, my color will be well separated without having pigments of any other color in the background. So we are done. I click OK, and you can see they look alike still. Here now shows CMYK, but here is 27%. I think that's the next thing I wanted to explain there. Other things are just minor things, which are not important. Okay. Finally, the last portion. This logo you see here, there is a faded logo in this background. I hope you can see it. There's a faded logo here. I do not think that it's a hard thing for us to do it, but more like it's just to add transparency effect to a logo. Since we have this already, so I want to duplicate it. Okay, you know how to do that again. And maybe I might want to press P on keyboard to centralize it very well. There's no big deal there. You know, stretch it to my own size. But if I leave it like this now, when someone wants to type on this letterhead, the back, or what do you call it, and the background here, or what do you call it, watermark here, is going to overshadow the write-up. And sometimes the text you're going to type are going to be very tiny because this is a letterhead meant for receiving letters or notes or text. So what do I have to do? I want to go and pick my transparency tool by clicking on this small drop out here and getting to the transparency option. And what I really want here is called uniform transparency, and that is it. But the level of transparency here is quite still small. I want to increase the level of transparency to something like, maybe I like 90 something. Okay, let's say like this. This one is too faded. I want it to still show a little, although while it is being shown, when someone wants to print on it, it should not overshadow. Maybe let me move it to like 95, or I can just type it in 95%, if that gives me what I wanted, if that is good enough for my eyes to see. Or let's say 94. The lowest part here is 0, means no transparency. The highest part is 100, meaning totally transparent. But for me, I want something that is close to that 94, 90 something level. Okay, let me just tap it a little. 94 will look good for me. Okay, so that is that, and we are done with our letterhead. I think that's all. Take notes. I'm not really bothered about this since you can do them. Okay, those are not a problem for now, but as me, I want to just color it. Okay, my interest is, one, you are able to make this kind of transparent logo in a page, and then you know the sizing of a letterhead being an A4 paper size. It can never be more than A4 or less than A4. It should be always like that. Then you understand the concept of the lines, faces, shapes being made to appear alike. And then we also learned about color mixtures indirectly, although this is more, we cannot take everything all, like sit down and explain everything one by one. So as we are taking each subject, we look at some elements that matter in it. That instruction as well applies to every other aspect of your design whenever you want to. For instance, when it comes to carving, maybe you want to have a letterhead that has shapes, okay, stuff like this around. Let me say, I want to duplicate it, get the shape around my space. Then here, I want such letterhead that has a background, for design. Then after dragging my shape to this point, I can now convert it to curve, and then do some manipulation, like let's say curve this section and then manipulate it to my own taste, and then color it, that color that we produced. Okay, you see, graphics is about creativity. If this is what you want, you have known the way. About it. Okay, if you want to import maybe like other things, pictures or some creative objects into your design, you bring them in. Even if you want to make this to be at the bottom, you duplicate it and flip it around, put it at the bottom side. Hey, it will stand for you. Letterhead is letterhead. My interest is in showing you how it is being done. There is no expo here, because when you are going to do the job out there, you are likely going to depend all on your own self and creativity. Of course, thank God you can have inspiration online or from anywhere. Look at any sample of any kind of thing you want to do and see if you can produce it that same way. Okay, so we are done with this. These are not part of our work. This is our simple letterhead here, and that's just what. If we delete this one now, we now have our main one. Now take note, this other one is a picture file which we cannot change. I put a shadow behind it so that you can see the depth of it. You see the borders around it. But now, having removed everything, we are almost on the same page.